Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian from Spec Trade Group, and this is your end of day market recap for Wednesday, June 21st. So I will get to all the market moves today. We'll talk a little bit about the indices and where they are right now. But first things first, I figured I'd start the video off a little bit different today. If you're not familiar with Tribeca Trade Group and what we offer, here's our services and products page. You can go through and you can kind of take a look at all the things that we provide. I would check it out if you haven't for a month, and you can pay month to month, or you can get the discount for paying for a year. But here's what we offer. One of the couple of things that we do that's that's on here, but maybe not highlighted, is just our pre-market session, which we start every morning at 9:10. We go over all the macro moves. I go over global moves. I've been talking a lot about international markets lately, and they've been resting for a little bit, and so are the US markets a little bit. And then also what's really useful, I think, is if you're a part-time trader right now, I send out a midday note, which you can get through in a couple minutes. It's all the market movers. It's the themes of the day. Usually it's a couple charts. It's where my open positions are, like, what the update is on them, as well as what the update is on our watch list, which we provide over the weekend. And then we kind of add to that watch list as the week progresses. And that's all linked up to Bloomberg API. So you can see, pluses and minuses in terms of how that watch list is performing and which names have triggered, which is, particularly useful. So that said, thank you for listening to that. To start off with, we can get right to the end of day recap here. Risk disclaimer in front of you. Everything that we're going through is for information purposes only. Please read the risk disclaimer right there. So themes of the day, a little bit, I would say, number one for the indices, which I want to go over quickly here, but more digestion, I would say. Keep in mind, we've had a really big move so far in the beginning of June. And, I think, as most of traders know, the market doesn't go up or down in a straight line, and there's going to be digestion along the way, or consolidation. I say that word a lot, when a name is consolidating, or when the market right now is consolidating. But if you don't believe me, for month to date, we're still up quite a bit. The S&P, the Qs, they're up 4%. IWM is up 6%. So even after this little give back the last couple of days, this is still really big outperformance for the month of June so far. As you could see, and if you've been watching my end of day videos, there's a little bit more red on the last 5 days. So again, a little bit of a pullback, but from where these things are, look at this. This should be in red too. See, once in a while I've got a mistake on my spreadsheet, but yeah, ARC, really kind of giving some of those gains back. Same thing with the IBD 50. So, the hot areas of the market. And, but I think so. There are plenty of other areas that are kind of picking up the slack a little bit. I'm going to go over those. And that's one of the things that we do. That's one of the value adds that I try to do at Tribeca Trade Group, is tell you, not just what 4 or 5 of the big liquid names are doing, but really kind of an overall representation of what the market is doing and where there is strength and where there is rotation. So overall, SPY, right? We did take out this version point of control. This is overhead supply. We talked about this on Friday, and since then we're in digestion, right? We were, look at, by the way, still we're way ahead of the 20-day moving average, and we haven't had a retest or price coming into the 20-day moving average in the S&P for a couple months at this point. We've kind of come in here a little bit and tested, but this has been a real nice, run that we've been, sorry, that's the 50-day moving average. The 20-day moving average, the last test was back in towards the, middle or back end of May. So again, we're still extended a bit, right? But if you're a regular viewer of my videos, you know that I've been saying for the last 3 or 4 days, maybe even more so, that that we've been overbought. The RSI got up to like a 76. That's the study down here. right here, 76, 77. So we're finally cooling off a little bit. All right. Again, perfectly normal at this point. The question is, where is there support? SPY is going to look a little bit different than the S&P futures, but we're down to this 433.88 level. S&P futures, which I rely on a little bit more, we're not quite there yet. S&P futures are going to look more at the after hours market and so forth. We're kind of pausing in here, and I put together a video about this, how we kind of lay out the roadmap for the day and for the week, but we've tested in here previously. The question is, are we going to travel all the way through this value area? Right now, you could see on the top left, the 80% rule is set up. That's when you start the period either above or below value, you enter it, and then there's an 80% chance that we go all the way through it. So 40, if this doesn't hold in here, right, the 200 period moving average, and it did a couple of weeks ago, that's why I keep zooming out here, right? We held in here, we broke into the value area a few weeks back, and then we rebounded. So far, we had a little bit of a rebound midday today, but it didn't hold. So I would say, kind of trying to sit on my hands basically, and add to some things, to some stronger names that are dipping a little bit, is basically the name of the game. But overall, it's to try to be patient as the market kind of comes in a little bit. And again, this is actually, if you've been a trader for a while, these little moves back like this are actually, they're good things in the market, because we just got way overbought, and you could find some nice trade setups once the once this bullish sentiment has been burned off a little bit. Here's what the Qs look like too, which I'll talk about them for just a second. But again, they're still, extended above the 20-day moving average. Finally, this is off of the 70 RSI. This is now a 64. So finally has cooled a touch. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit more to the downside or to go, especially the way that we didn't really close constructively. But I'm watching for the Qs, 359.51, which would be a support area, and we'll see if we bounce on that. Remember, when we get to a support area, the main thing to do, or main thing that I do, I can't give advice, of course, in these videos, is to watch to see if we bounce, right? I don't ever want to, get to a support area and just start buying, right? We want to see if that support area is valid and if buyers are defending it, right? So 359.51 is going to be that level for me to watch if we get a little bit more further to the downside. Small caps, actually, we're doing pretty decently today, but if you're if you're a regular viewer of my video, you know that I don't really like the small cap chart. It's still very sideways to me. That's where we are in the weekly chart. Again, it doesn't mean that we can't outperform some days, but we're below the 5-period moving average, above the 20, and we're just below the value area for the week. I would watch this 185.09 level. Right now we're below that, and to me that means I don't really want to touch this unless it has some fight back to it. All right, let's talk a little bit about the sector. So as I mentioned, we're plenty of areas that we're actually doing pretty well today. The steel names, right? So just more of the commodity type areas of the market, metals, agriculture, energies even in there. The question is, which of these areas do I really want to be positioned in to the long side for more than a day trade? It's tough. I'm going to start with the agriculture area just for a second, because I think what's going on here is pretty interesting, and still don't hear too many people talking about it. But this is your agriculture ETF, right? So this is an ETF that has its commodity future, agriculture commodity futures, so soybeans and wheat, cotton, things like that. And you could see this has been breaking higher. It's very strong. There are some agriculture ETFs that I do pay attention to. The problem is there's not a lot of names that are in uptrends. This group has really been beaten up. This is the veggie ETF. Notice how it's still in the value area for the month. Moo is another agriculture ETF. Same thing, still in value for the month. So, I'm still kind of looking for, a play that I really like. Probably CTVA is the closest to it. Also CF Industries, great initials, by the way. The only problem is this took out a VPOC up here. So, and again, I don't like downtrends. So most of these names are in downtrends. Deere is one name that is not. This has been trending, was up another 2%. Remember, this had an ugly looking candle on earnings day, but since then has been really kind of trending nicely. And if you look at some of these, some other names more kind of in the industrial space, while Caterpillar didn't close on the highs, still is looking okay. ATKR, in fact, the whole industrial group, right, just looks very good to me, right? Yes, this hit an upside target last week and has been kind of coming down a little bit, but and then of course my favorite ETF within the group, which is the I believe it's the Industrial Revolution ETF, AIRR. I call it the nuts and bolts ETF, but you've got things like this in there, Quanta Services, right, which made a new high today. So again, and I can bring up the new highs for you too. Here's the 52-week highs. You take a look at some of these names that are on there. Sure, PWR is on there, VMC's on there, a name that I got long last week, EXP, which made a new high, BLDR, which at this point, I'm sure you've heard about this name. That's also, another construction type, building material type name that's been doing very well. This is the 4-week highs, but again, you could kind of see, right? This is not the names that are making 52-week highs are not those names that you keep hearing the media talk about, right? The media keeps talking about, oh, it's only 4 or 7. Now they stretched it. Oh, it's these 7 names that are powering the S&P. Okay, that's fine. The S&P is a market cap weighted index, but look at the names that are making those 52-week highs. None of those are the 7 names that you keep hearing people talk about because they're not doing their analysis, right? There's also the 3 healthcare names, specialty pharma names. Cardinal Health is in here. ABC is in here. MCK, I think, should be in here. There's MCK, right? So MLM, right? Martin Marietta is another one. DHI, Home Builder. CSGP, which came up on our scan a couple of days ago as well, right? But, so pretty diverse. Right. Interesting that there's not real major tech that is hitting 52-week highs. Here's the 4-week highs. So these are kind of the monthly highs, but you're going to see it's kind of the same thing, right? PWR is in here. Some defense names are in here. LHX, LMT is in here. NOC, right? So some different names, right? Again, even on the 4-week new highs, you've got Carrier in here, JCI, right? Which is, those are a couple industrial names. So, again, this is what we do at Tribeca Trade Group is kind of point out, where there's other trades to be done in other places. And that's working out for us. CPRT is a name that we added today, which is almost making new highs, right? This is an auto name. So again, lots of strength, there, but, it just the last couple of days have not been, let the software names, the semi names, let those areas cool a little bit, right? I think they will come back, right? Even though I still have some Salesforce on, which didn't have a great day today. I started a trade yesterday. That's why we hit targets, and I may look to to re-add to that. But let some other areas outperform. Another name too, MTZ is another name that's breaking out. Another type of material name. So again, lots of strength out there. A couple hurricane type trades, Generac, which we talked about yesterday, basing and now moving above its 200-day moving average. The SMH, we can talk a little bit about, it's been down now a couple days, but let this group come down, find some names. Like I'm looking to see what ACLS does. NVIDIA, which has I think it's their annual general meeting is tomorrow. So, but again, a lot of these things are extended. Tesla, which I'm still long a piece, which I may have to get out of tomorrow because that's a bearish engulfing. So again, it's still very extended. So be patient, in my opinion, with some of these names, and we'll kind of see where that goes. Bitcoin today had another big day. I'm still long a piece of Mara that gave back some of the gains. I did take another target today with this one. So that's the story there. One other area to cover is the financials, right? I actually tried to trade in JP Morgan today. Still not appetizing enough for me to stay in for a swing trade. So I bailed on that trade. I just think there's still better places to be right now. All right, guys, that is it for today's recap. Have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow.